Cosa ne pensa della democrazia esportata dalle grandi potenze?
It's a very complex situation for us, really. But let me see if I can just simplify it as I possibly can. We've always believed in and we know the value of democracy. Long before, we were colonized and even after we were colonized. However, the world is going through changes, etc. We've been through the pain of colonialism, and today we're going through colonialism, neo-colonialism, in the sense that what I'm trying to say is that there was a time when we saw the white man, our colonial powers, as our enemies. But I think, no, not that I think, something that is worse than an enemy is a traitor. Yes. And when we won our freedom, some of our countries were led by some of the most noble nationalists, of our time. But at the same time, with the passage of time, some of them became treacherous and rather betrayed our aspirations. In effect, what I'm trying to say is that as bad as an enemy can be, I think something worse than an enemy is a traitor. We've ended up evolving in the process of trying to modernize. We've ended up being westernized. It is undermining international political morality. And what it's doing is that it's percolating downwards. So as it percolates downwards, every mistake you make downwards, by the time it gets to my country, the mistake is multiplied by 5 times. People in my part of the world are beginning to mimic and take the cue from the new global leaders. What does that mean? Let me give you one fine example. In America, you have Republicans, you have the Democrats. You have industries that are strong and independent enough to be able to vote or finance whoever they wish. So there's a certain element of independence. But you come to my country, when you're talking about export, the new situation over the last few years is that those who are in power today, in a setting, taking the cue from the new global power, Bush's America, the unipolar world, they are destroying every opposition. Any business they think is associated with, with the opposition has to be destroyed. Containing some of, typically of my country, what is happening? National armed forces are being denationalized, and they're trying to tribalize the army. I'm not saying this because I'm in a position. I would have wished they had continued from where we left off. I would have saluted them and praised them. My country would be flying. But my country is involved in the most massive corruption, some of the brutal killings that have taken place, terrorizing, recruiting people from their parties into the police, the military, etc. And yet, BBC, CNN, Sky, American, media, the print media are all quiet because they want to portray the image of that fine Ghana as a showcase for the rest of Africa, so that they can use Ghana, who has done so well from my time into this time, and they're keeping quiet about this atrocious, the image of this government, because they do not want to undermine. They have enough problem in Afghanistan, they have enough problem in whatever it is, so they do not want to lose the situation in Africa in terms of the new world order. the unfortunate thing is that I don't care who you, in Italy, in France, in Britain, America, bring into power in my country. But I would wish you would contain them enough from declining into massive corruption and brutality and tyrannical tendencies. Because if you do not contain them, what happens is that they become so corrupt, they are now afraid of free and fair elections, and they refuse to leave power, and then we have volcanic eruptions.